first of all, just thank you everyone for jumping on here. This is our very brief legislative update. Yesterday was crossover day, which is when bills have their chance to either cross over from one legislative chamber to the other, or they stall and are no longer in play for the legislative session. So Megan, who is our CEO, is joining us from on the road. She's pulled over, so she's safe, but she's joining us from on the road, coming back from the Capitol, where she and many of our other staff have been very busy the last couple of weeks. So we just wanted to give y'all a quick legislative update. And how about we just jump right in? So the first bill that we wanted to give you an update on is HB 370. That is the Crown Grant or the King's Grant bill. We called it the Great Salt Marsh Giveaway in our communications to you because this bill, as a reminder, would have changed the process by which the state verifies King's grants. It would have drastically limited the amount of time that the state has to certify, sometimes up to 250 years worth of documentation. And if they didn't make their decision within a very short period of time, the grant would have been certified by default, which makes it easy to give away the marsh. So many of y'all spoke up about this, and we'll get to that in a second. But Megan, first, just tell us, where is HB 370 now?
Great description. Thanks, Katie. So HB 370 passed out of Judiciary a few weeks ago and went to the Rules Committee. And there was a lot, as you all know, of scuttlebutt about the bill. There was a lot of controversy about the bill, a lot of media coverage. And the Rules Chairman actually recommitted the bill back to the Judiciary Committee. So basically the bill moved backwards after moving forwards. And that is a direct result of all of the controversy about the bill. So that gets a lot, I mean, the public and the people who weighed in get a lot of credit for that, get all the credit for that. So the bill it went back to the committee and the committee never picked it up again. So it died.
All right.
Which is great.
So HB 370, that one is gone. And as Megan has said, that is thanks to all of the hubbub that y'all helped to create just through our system alone online. We had 18 people call Speaker Burns in just a couple of days. And in total, we had 640 emails that y'all sent to your legislators. So thank you so much. You filled up their inboxes and it killed this bill. So thank you very much. HB 370 Crown Grant bill is gone. The next two bills that we're going to touch on are related to the Okefenokee Swamp, and I'm sure many of you know where I'm going with this. The first one that we want to touch on is House Bill 71, the Okefenokee Protection Act. Brief description: it would have banned all mining along Trail Ridge and protected not only the ecological integrity of the swamp, but also, its economic, its cultural, its historical significance from the threats of mining. So Megan, can you talk to us about what happened with House Bill 71?
Yeah, House Bill 71, as Katie just said, would have protected the swamp from future mining. We received more sponsors on that bill. We've received more public comments on that bill, more emails, more communications about the Okefenokee Swamp and legislation to protect it than any other bill in my 11 years working here at 100 Miles. So it really was amazing. Unfortunately, that bill was committed to a committee in the House where the chair really just wasn't interested in moving it forward. And so that bill stalled. She had a hearing on the bill, but never had a vote. So it never even had an opportunity to make it to the House floor, unfortunately.
Right. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what's next in terms of the Okefenokee protective legislation, but we do want to also bring up House Bill 1338, which many of you received communications about just earlier this week. It's been a long week. House Bill 1338 just popped up in the last week that it appeared.
Yeah.
And it came about under the guise of protecting the swamp, but was really mostly a distraction from true protective legislation. As a brief overview, it would have created a 3-year meaningless moratorium on new permits for dragline surface mining. And it would have essentially made it a lot easier for once the moratorium ends for companies to get permits to carry out mining operations within the swamp. And so it is a problematic bill. We have a lot more information about it on our website. And it was a distraction from the real work of protecting the Okefenokee. We sent out the call and you guys answered. And I want, Megan, can you just give us the story of what happened with House Bill 1338?
Yeah. So because of all of the commotion about protecting the swamp, two legislators in particular decided to put together a bill that kind of masked or used the information about protecting the swamp and the interest in protecting the swamp. And in the bill, in the first sentence, had the word moratorium in it. And I think they thought that nobody would read past that first sentence. And as Katie said, it was a meaningless moratorium. Hold on a second, I have to cough. Excuse me, I'm kind of battling a cold after being at the Capitol. And the public read right through it. I mean, nobody fell for it. And in the last week, again, we just drummed up so much opposition to this bill because I think what the sponsors hoped was that they would have been able to, quote unquote, take credit for protecting the swamp when really the bill would not have protected the swamp. It would have endangered it even more, especially after 3 years from now, which was the length of the so-called moratorium. I have to give credit, obviously, yes, to all of our supporters and people who weighed in through our system, but both HB 71 and HB 1338 were priorities for conservation groups across the state. And so I want to say that, yes, 100 Miles supporters did a lot of work, but so did other supporters of other organizations. And the power of our network and the power of our collaboration really was evident through the ability to stop this bad bill in such a short amount of time. In fact, it never even made it to the House floor yesterday for a vote. It passed through Rules Committee, but the speaker never called it because he had proof that it probably wouldn't pass, and they didn't want to waste time on a bill that wasn't going to pass.
Yeah, and that is, as Megan said, that's a huge testament to the work that all of y'all and our partners put into this. In particular, we just wanted to recognize folks who were at the Capitol yesterday all day. They were there. Y'all were there till past midnight.
No,
I mean,
it was over at like 11:15.
11:15.
Yeah.
So almost midnight. It was a very long day. And we wanted to say thank you in particular to members of the Georgia Wildlife Federation, Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, Georgia River Network, Ogeechee Riverkeeper, Southern Environmental Law Center, Sierra Club, the Georgia Conservation Voters, Science for Georgia, and other members of the Georgia Water Coalition who were there, all standing together and manning the phones, talking to representatives, and fighting against HB 1338. The bill is done. Y'all did it. So thank you so much. And Megan, I have to ask, just because I'm sure people are curious, is there any idea of what's to come in terms of legislation for the Okefenokee going forward?
Not really. We have some ideas and we'll begin working on them at the next, at the end of this legislative session. There is a bill in the Senate that has passed the House and made it almost all the way through the Senate that increases fines for criminal violations of mining permits. And, that's a helpful bill, but it's not exactly what we want. But still, we're supportive of that bill, and possibly language could be added to that to make it a little bit stronger. And we'll have to kind of do the political calculus on whether or not that's possible over the next couple of weeks before day 40 of the legislative session, which is at the end of this month.
All right. Thank you for that. So we'll be keeping all of y'all updated on if there are further action alerts or what you can be doing to help protect the Okefenokee. And as a very quick reminder, outside of the legislature, please don't forget that the Environmental Protection Division has opened up a public comment period on the draft permits for the Twin Pines proposed demonstration mine along Trail Ridge. And this is a really critical point in the process. It's the last step before this mine would become operational. So you can submit your comments to the EPD. Deadline is April 9th. There's also a public comment meeting happening next week, March 5th at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. all of the information for both of those things are on our website, and we will share those links in the comments when this video is over. So the fight's not done yet. Keep stepping up. Thank you again to all of y'all who have stepped up. I do want to call out that since Tuesday, we had 19 phone calls and 316 emails sent about HB 1338 through just our system again. So thank y'all so much. You've really shown up and stepped out. Finally, we want to talk about House Bill 1146. This is the water privatization bill. In a nutshell, House Bill 1146 would allow private individuals to bypass local governments and water utilities and get a permit to sell water to developers. So it's a threat to sustainable planned development and public infrastructure, essentially by making Georgia's very limited drinking water supply available to the highest bidder. Now, HB 1146, Megan, what happened with this bill yesterday?
So this was the second to last bill that was voted on late last night. And there was quite a bit of debate about it. We waited around all day to see if 1338 would be called and if this bill would be called. And I want to give a shout out to Damon Mullis of the Ogeechee Riverkeeper. He was working this bill hard. He was talking to legislators at the ropes all day long. We had some really smart legislators make really great points about the danger of this bill, the precedent that it would set by allowing private individuals to sell our water supply, to have access to it, and without a letter of concurrency from a local government. So essentially, the county normally has to approve any kind of private systems. This would have just allowed, would allow anybody to be able to stick a straw in the ground and pull out water. The bill passed the House. It was controversial. It wasn't a unanimous vote. We suspected that the bill would pass the House because it had the support of the Speaker and it had, the support of some pretty powerful House leaders. The House is going to move, the bill is going to move over to the Senate now. One thing that y'all can do that we really need help with is we need letters of opposition from local governments. This bill is a preemption bill. Basically, it does not allow local governments to control their own destiny because it allows private individuals to sell water. And water is what gives access to building homes. But the other thing that the bill doesn't do is it doesn't mandate that there is access to sewer. So it could result in a bunch of homes being built with water, but not sanitary sewer. And then those homes would have to rely on septic tanks, which, as you know, septic tanks aren't as reliable as sanitary sewer. So we're looking at a couple of different issues here. One dealing with water quantity of the Florida aquifer, but the other dealing with water quality because of the impact that septic systems or proliferation of septic systems could have along our coast.
Right. And so because of all of that, and this bill still being alive, we do need you to take action, as Megan has said, to reach out to your local municipalities in opposition to this bill. And we don't currently have anything for you to do specifically with that, but we will put together at the very least emails for all of your people that you can reach out to. And because this bill is still alive, we do have an actionable item on our website. If you go to 100miles.org/HB1146, you can actually contact your senators now. So I know that a number of you have already reached out to your representatives when this bill was in the House. Now we're in the Senate. So if you could please jump on and contact your senators this time. The form is already ready for you on our website. Again, that link, I will put it in the comments for this video. And we will keep you updated as the legislative session continues. I think that pretty much wraps us up. Megan, is there anything else that you want to add or to say?
I would just say we have 11 days left. So yesterday was day 29. Day 40 is in 11 legislative days. We need a lot of noise about 1146, especially related to unplanned growth and the threat to our water supply. Like Katie said, letters of opposition from counties and municipalities are going to be really important. But I just want to end with the notion that the work that we do at 100 Miles, you know, Alice and I go to the Capitol every week, and she was at the Capitol earlier this week. I came later. We can't do our work without y'all. Legislators don't listen to us unless they know that we come carrying petitions or letters or voices with us, or even, you know, we've had people come up to the Capitol with us this year. In fact, I had one of our members up here. What day was that? I don't know. The days are running together. Wednesday. And he was helping me go around and lobby. And I know a bunch of people came up earlier this session to lobby about the Okefenokee Swamp. I mean, that is so important, and it is so meaningful, because when you get into the Capitol, it's like you're in this bubble, or it's like another planet where it's easy for the legislators to forget about the people back home, or about the people around the resources where they're making votes that will affect those resources and the people's lives. So I just really encourage you to keep up the chatter and keep communicating, because that's really what makes the difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And as we said, we'll get links to y'all. We'll get action items. We'll make it as straightforward as possible for you to take action. And thank you, thank you, thank you for all the action that you've already taken. Megan, thank you for pulling over and providing this update. Safe travels as you come back down to the coast. And thank you again, everyone who joined us for this little legislative update. Check those links, and we will keep you updated as we go. Thank you very much.
See y'all later.